Welcome back to part 4 of my 1989 Laser LTV bass boat restoration. Part 4, you're going to see a huge transformation of the boat. It's a really exciting part of the project because it went from looking all chopped up and a lot of work still to be done to really kind of looking complete. So let's get into it here in the first part of the video, picking up right where part 3 left off, flipping the hull over after I painted it. So the technique I use to flip it over is basically, it's like an X kind of technique where you tie off to the bolt that's away from you, so when you flip it, it's pulling toward you. I know that probably doesn't make sense the way I'm explaining it, but if you're about to flip your boat over, you might kind of figure out what I'm trying to tell you. Using a cherry picker engine hoist on the front, and then I have a chain hoist in the back that is connected to a kind of like an A-frame thing that I made out of an old swing, bench swing. I put 4 wheels on it so I can roll it around, and it's worked out really well. If you're wondering where you can get styrofoam blocks, most Tractor Supplies have them in the back out by like behind the store, because they use them when they bring trailers in to put between the trailers. That's where I got mine from, and they are extremely handy. So here we go, getting it flipped over, getting it on blocks. Not too bad, a little stressful since it's got nice new paint on it. All right guys, getting the deck cap put back on. We got a chain hoist, got a piece of angle here in the middle. Shot from inside the building. I just have my boat in like a boat storage place, and that's where I've been working out of since I don't have a garage where I'm living. And getting the deck cap back on is always a bit of a pain. The hull sags quite a bit, if that makes sense. The top sags out. Even though we put the bulkhead in with the deck cap on, it still sags out about 2 inches actually. And so you gotta kind of shoehorn it, start from the back, go forward, and get it on there. But you can kind of see this is the first time it's been on in about 16 months. So getting it on there, and it was pretty fun. I was excited to see it back on there again. And then the next shot will be what it looks like. This is the first time I'm seeing it with the deck cap on and the floor and everything, which you can kind of see now. And so what we're working on here is the rear section of the front casting deck. What we did is we put our piece of air cell board on there and squared it up with that vertical piece you see there that we screwed to the bulkhead, so we know it's square and as far back as it needs to be. And then traced it essentially going from where the rub rail would be, because on the inside it was going to butt up and sit right where the rub rail is going. So we just traced it with a Sharpie on the bottom side, and we knew that would get us super close. And so marked it out on the deck cap also so we can get it squared up, and it worked out pretty well. We just cut to the inside of our mark, so that way it made the difference of the thickness of the hull, essentially. I think we did have to do a little sanding and fitting, which is to be expected. Another thing to be expected is this is part of what's taken the project so long, is all the custom fabrication. Everything in the boat is pretty much been custom. We didn't really put anything back the way it was, except for the piece of air cell that went under the bench seat. Everything else, and the stringers, we kind of did, but we weren't able to save the original stringers for templates, so we had to go back and measure those out. And so then I think what we did here is we just cut off the excess we needed so we can get a more accurate cut for our front deck piece. You can see my box there. So as you're looking at the screen on your left side, that is going to be my rod box. I already stuck a 8-foot casting rod up there fit beautifully. I'm excited about that. I am not sure exactly what I'll do for hatches yet. I'm probably going to get some custom aluminum ones made, or see what I can find out of some project boats that people are just kind of parting out. But eventually I'll have 3 hatches up front so I can access that space. Here's a rough mock-up of how it's going to look once it's done. So this is what I meant by huge transformation. See the rough mock-up of how we're going to make the console nice and flush. And this is our forward section of the front casting deck. So again, this is all custom fabricated pieces. We were working with 2 angles for the front, I guess that little ramp section there. We were working with 2 different angles. So we had to cut out these, make those cutouts, and you see we're kind of trying to figure it out. So this is the only picture I have of the original boat deck. And so you can see the front casting deck on the original deck was flush with the rod box. I kept about half of that rod box. In the next photo, you will see the difference in height, how much we actually raised it up. You can also tell by that Craftsman screwdriver laying there how low it was. And so I was not happy with how low it was, how small it was. It does not work for today's style of fishing. I am a serious bass fisherman, so I wanted something different. And then here you can see the scale of how high we got it and how much wider it is. And I love it. I mean, you could not make it any wider without the boat looking goofy. I wanted to keep some of the natural lines of the deck cap, and I feel like we did a really good job of that. Super excited for how it's going to turn out. Again, just another picture where you can kind of see just how big it is. I've stood on it. It feels big when you're up there. And so I'm really excited to get this thing finished up and catch some fish out of it. All right, so moving right along. Quick clip now that we have the front section in. And you can see there, I had to cut some pieces of scrap that I had to fill those gaps in there. Not a big deal. I had footage of that, but for whatever reason I could not upload it to the editing software. So we are doing the best we can. Just another shot for you. And that is it for part 4. So in part 5, essentially it's going to be finishing the console, making that look nice, glassing up the little rod box, which I will probably put my fire extinguisher in there, probably my paperwork, that sort of stuff. And then kind of just give you another look around the boat now that it's basically done. I really wish I could have got that other footage in here for you guys, but I think this was plenty for one video. Like I said, I had so much fun doing this part of the project because it looks like a bass boat again, instead of just a hunk of doo-doo. All right, guys, thanks for watching.